Well, a variety of issues are driving voters to the polls. According to CBS News Battleground Tracker polling, voters say the economy, inflation, and crime are their top concerns during the election cycle. The first two are actually pretty related. So to break down some of those issues and see how candidates and voters on both sides of the aisle are approaching them, I want to bring in CBS News political analyst and Republican strategist Leslie Sanchez and CBS News political contributor and Democratic strategist Antjuan Seawright. Great to see you guys. All right, so right now, I just want to give people kind of like a general overview of how the electorate is thinking. So I'm going to start with you, Antjuan. What are the main issues driving Democrats to the polls?
Well, good morning and happy Election Day. I think you laid it out very handsomely in the issues that you mentioned that on the top of the mind of voters. However, Anne-Marie, I've been traveling across this country, 15 states in the past few weeks, talking to voters all over this country, and more so than issues, more so than issues in this election, I think people are showing up in record numbers, 42 million to be exact, about emotions in this election. There's this exhausted majority that exists out there, and then you have the anger, frustrated, confused crowd that exists. And for black voters, 32.7 eligible black voters in this election, majority of them that I've been speaking to and talking with, this election is about survival, and they know that this election is clearly a choice between a party who's been there and stood with them versus a party who wants to undo and take away some of the very things that has impact on their quality of life. And so more so than issues, this election is more about emotions.
So Leslie, same question for you. What are the main issues driving Republicans to the polls?
I want to dive a little bit deeper into what Antjuan said, because I think he is so on point. One of the things I feel gets lost in this conversation, we treat 2022 like it's 2018, like it's any other midterm, and it's not. I think everybody has COVID launched a tinderbox of emotions, and there's a long kind of a tail on that emotionally, psychologically, financially. Businesses have not recovered. People lost a lot of personal freedoms. They were told to stay home, keep their kids from home, wear masks, get vaccinated. And a lot of the states that pushed back against that, meaning Republican leadership from Florida all the way to, across the country, are seeing this ripple of red. Because what COVID exposed and the pandemic exposed is what Antjuan is talking about. A lot of communities on the margins, brown and black communities, working class communities, it exposed the class division in this country. There were a lot of people who worked paycheck to paycheck who could not work from home, who did not have a nanny, and who are barely recovering from 2 years of disruption. The economy is the emotion that's driving that. So I call this a stress test, yes, on democracy, but it is definitely a stress test, a stressor for families. And they want to see something other than what they feel is hypocrisy coming out of Washington. That's why this election is so unique.
So, Antjuan, one of the challenging things about tackling the economy as an issue is the economy is really, really complicated. And, it doesn't always have to do with what's happening here. It's hard to explain. You can't write it. It doesn't fit into a campaign slogan. And so often, as you guys know, parties focus on other things. And I thought it was really interesting. We're throwing up some graphics right there about what likely voters think Republicans or Democrats will do if they win. And for Democrats, it was, abortion rights and open immigration, almost something along those lines. So they're asking people who are going to vote both Republican and Democrat. There you go. Open the U.S.-Mexico border, pass a national right to abortion law. So either of those, particularly the first one, could be good or bad news depending on how you're voting. So I want to ask you particularly about the first one, Antjuan. How much do you think abortion has had an impact on people going to the polls? Is it the issue that it was, the galvanizing issue that it was when Roe v. Wade was overturned?
Well, I think there's a different conversation on K Street than it is on my street and Leslie Street and other streets around this country, and I've bear witness to that firsthand. I think with the issue of a woman having the ability to make her own healthcare decisions, and those decisions remaining between her and her doctor, sure, they're going to be a strong driving force for women in this election and for some men in this election, because it is sad to say that because of this right-wing activist court, a woman born in this day day and age will have less rights perhaps than their parents or grandparents. So I think that is going to be a driving force, in particular with suburban white women who tend to vote on this issue more so than any other community or constituency in elections of past. However, I do not think it's going to be the ultimate driving force. What this issue is going to create is this idea of an independent thinker more so than an independent voter. And so you're going to have some women who in this election will vote opposite of what they traditionally vote on, specifically because of this issue. And then you're going to have some women who feel like this issue is not the thing that's going to drive my decision. However, it is a factor, but not the determining factor.
That's a really interesting way of characterizing it. Independent thinker, not an independent voter. So, Leslie, that brings me to you. When it comes to some of these issues, abortion, immigration, does any of it matter if people are emotionally overwhelmed and exhausted? Will they just sort of end up leaning into what they typically favor, whatever party they would normally vote for?
Anne-Marie, I think they're activated by that inflation issue. So the undercurrent on all of this is the dramatically high prices. If you go in and you're looking at milk, bread, cereal, the basics of your household, and they're basically, to many families, becoming unaffordable. And then there's an attack on the U.S. energy industry. You have to remember a lot of working class families work in the petroleum industry. You heard President Biden last week have to walk back what he was saying about cutting coal mines. Those are ripples that Democrats are making that are pushing the pressure on the inflation topic and on the family households. Families have not recovered in their businesses. They lost revenue, they lost retirement savings, and many, we lost friends. So we cannot look at this and think that all of that, is just past. It's what the reality is that Americans are living in today. So they're going to look and be very mercurial, I think, for the next several elections to Republicans and Democrats on who can deliver on crime, on reducing inflation, and keeping America's financial pocketbook strong.
Mercurial, maybe that's good. Maybe that means both the parties are going to have to actually earn the votes that they get.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing.
Antjuan Seawright, Leslie Sanchez. Oh, sorry, Antjuan, get it in real quick.
Really quick, I would just say that inflation is a global issue. It's a global issue, not just in the United States. And there's one party who's very consistent with dealing with lowering the cost of inflation, and the other party has no plan to deal with inflation. And I think that's why this election is about a choice more so than any other election in my lifetime.
All right. Antjuan, Leslie, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.